Good morning, everybody. It is June 3rd, a Monday. This is Bev, host of the Bev D Show. I am welcoming myself back. I was on a business trip last week and was out of town and found out when I got home that I actually can do these on the road, but I am a very simple person and did not realize that the wonderful world of technology would allow me to do such things. So when I'm on the road in the future, I will certainly keep up with it because I did get a few messages that said, hey, what's going on? So thank you for the emails. I was going to do a quick little message this weekend and just didn't get around to it. And by that, I mean I was exhausted. Really tired. In doing this first show after last week, and by the way, I will do my best to do this without crying because if I start, I won't stop. Had a little event last week happen, and a life-changing occurrence. I don't even know at this point what to call it. So that you'll understand or so that I'll understand or whatever, but me and all of my messages always say everything happens for a reason. We learn from things, embrace the day, embrace change, lean into life. And as I started to do the show, and I knew the first show after what had happened was going to be difficult for me because I struggled with, do I talk about what happened? Or do I just keep it private and not put it out there on my little airwaves? Which, by the way, thank you, all of you, to who are listening and, here in the United States as well as, our listeners that we've got in a couple other countries. So thank you so much. I have a little bit of a heavy heart still, although I will tell you I slept almost and rested almost all of yesterday and actually went to bed like a school night last night and got some good strong sleep and rest that's needed. And we need rest. We need it to heal, even though we fight it and say we've got to do things and this has to be done. And we've got our own little deadlines in our heads of when things should be done and how productive we should be in a day or in a weekend, especially a beautiful sunny day like we had here in northeastern Ohio yesterday. It was very pretty. I went outside with my dog and it smelled like back to school. It had a little bit of a fall smell to the air when in fact we are just getting into spring and summer. But here's the thing. Last week, business meeting, and myself and my team, we showed up in Milwaukee, and we were going to have this big kickoff meeting of things that we wanted to talk about and plan and discuss, and good Lord had something else in mind. And it's that point where you're a believer, as I am, and you're like, well, wait a minute, because things change in an instant, and they did. But you struggle. You might be a little bit mad at the universe and God for what he did or whatever. It's very strange. We showed up, my coworker, dear friend, boss, colleague, name it. He was a work friend. He suddenly passed away Tuesday morning, literally when we showed up. And when we were there, he was, the ambulance had arrived and they were taking care of him and all that good stuff and doing what they're supposed to do to try and see if they could revive him. I won't pretend to have had any other kind of relationship with this man than any other person that he worked with, because he was the type of guy, everybody was significant. Everybody mattered. And I would say roughly at my company we have about 400 employees, I think, and 160 of those are sales reps. And then, of course, we've got the teams that lift those sales reps up. We've got our managers, directors. I'm a trainer. There's a couple other trainers in the company and recruiters, and so we're a sales organization. And we hire, train, and recruit, and try and get the best across the country. We're a national company, and we have all these pockets and places where we sell. This guy was, his name was Steve, and he really worked very hard on getting us all to have our own opinions and yet at the same time think alike. He wanted a cohesiveness within the organization so that we could keep it strong and we could develop human beings. And he was very passionate about that. And, you know, if you work full time, you are spending more time with the people that you work with than anyone else in your life. And you develop relationships, and there's going to be people you really don't like, and you just don't get it. And we're all stuffed. If you work inside a building, you're all stuffed inside a building. You all have your little territories with desks and offices and things like that. But I liken it to having to go to college, for example, and figure out how to live with these people in these dorms or frat houses, or whatever the situation. You got to figure out how to get along. And the difference is that when you work, you get to go to your real home and you get to leave. Depending on what your shift is, if it's 5 or 6 o'clock, you get to go home. And then you got to get up in the next morning and you got to start it all over again. So your home life, usually that's going to be around 6 to 10 o'clock. So you're only getting about 3 or 4 hours with your family. Now think about that. Think about that. And of course you get the weekends, but a lot of times, as Steve did, I knew he was working, we all did. Some of us work on the weekends, even if it's just a couple hours, to get caught up on emails, or he always sent out a Sunday message that I loved. It was always uplifting, talking about the sales for the week and that sort of thing. But you are spending your time, your precious time, with the people that you work with. And like it or not, that's just the way it's been designed, and that's the way it is. Some of us are entrepreneurs, and we work flex hours, and we do whatever we want. Others are, we're 8 to 5. We are, whatever that is, 3 to midnight. That's what you're doing. And, 6 or 7 or 8 hours of that day, you're sleeping, if you're lucky. But you really do. I attribute this to the people that we work with and that are at home that we've lost. And here's what I mean by that. You establish a relationship with these people. You, just like you were taught, if you were lucky when you were young, you have respect and love and care for these people. And I just could not it would almost be a lie if I didn't talk about or mention what a special human being Steve was. And I'd said that he made everybody feel significant. He was a light. He walked into a room with a smile and energy that was second to none. And a lot of laughter, a lot of jokes, a lot of fun. But boy, he worked hard. He worked hard. And he started at the company around the same time I did. I think it was a couple of months after, and really wasted no time in making what I call positive change. He did a lot for the company, but at the same time, you knew he was raising an amazing family. He had a great marriage, and he talked about that. He had a very, very strong family life. And I asked him one time about traveling, and I said, "Gee whiz, Steve, you travel so much. You've got these kids." And he said, he travels in a time when he's very lucky because they FaceTime. He said he was in a situation where they did a lot of, travel and things like that together, that they would take, vacations and what have you. So he felt very comfortable with the life he was leading and the family he was raising. And he was raising very busy girls, and I won't pretend to know them, but I know that they, from what I've heard since his passing, is that they're very strong, and it's a very tight-knit family that, with broken hearts and everything, that they they continue to, move forward. That's who he was. He was a move forward. Let's not waste time in this position and get stuck in this situation. And I liken him and call him the communicator, because it was the number one thing that he wanted all of us to do while he was doing that. So in these initial, a very strong push of a last year, lots of meetings, lots of conversations, lots of written correspondence that, I know that companies get caught up in that and they pretend. But with the work that we've done and the forward progress that we have made, we are not time wasters. And we are people that, we make a decision, we move on it, we give it a go, and if it doesn't work, then we back up and say, hey, okay, let's refuel, let's rechange, and kind of get going in a different direction. Not afraid to do that. So I wanted to come on today, and Steve would never have wanted a really sad, he knew how much I loved doing this. And he wouldn't have wanted it to be really sad and stuff, and I don't want it to either, but I did want to, kind of call out to the universe and say, thank you for the time that I was able to know him here on earth. The honor and respect that I had for him was incredible. And in such a short amount of time, I only knew this guy a couple of years, but he was impacting lives all over. And you can't get mad at that guy, he just had you doing things and working hard for him with such passion and joy, because you wanted to do it for him. And if you're lucky, you wanted to do it for him, for the company, for everybody, that you wanted it to matter. And he made sure that you knew that it mattered. And he's rare. And that's why I decided to say a few words in my healing, selfishly. And, if you're out there and you're listening and you got somebody that you work with that you think is tremendous and a strong leader or a coworker, let him know. Let him know. I would send him notes every now and then and go, did I ever tell you I love my job and the people I work with? And that's all I'd say. Because I just wanted him to know, as a leader in the company. And I know the crappy work that's out there. I know the terrible companies. I worked for one. I know there are some terrible, awful, disgusting, horrible American leadership out there, and they call themselves owners of companies. I've been there. I've worked for that person. And as nice as they may be on the surface, business people and how they take care of their employees is terrible. That is not where I work. And that is not who we are. It's an amazing company. So as I want to make this short because I'm very excited, I am going to be welcoming in some new recruits, new employees today, and with my partner, my buddy at work, we're going to be training them this week, and we're all going to try and, pick ourselves up and, do what Steve wanted. You got to do that. You gotta keep moving forward, and it's hard because you think about things maybe you could have, should have, or would have said. But I think he was very happy, and I think he knew where he stood. Now, does that mean he went to work without stress? No. I know he was riddled with it. He wanted, he was stressed, as we all do. Stress is an over-defined word. We love to use it, and it's out there, and it's stress and all this, and it's health and this. If you're working your ass off and you're trying really hard and you're not feeling a little bit of stress or pressure, then you're not doing your